welcome to today's insight. All right, so for today's insight, I'm going to talk about people who seem like they have it easy conversing with others. Generally, the great conversationalist or the person who makes everyone feel at home, at ease, like they belong, those types of people. Now, I was not like this I was not like this like when I was a child. I became like this because I've gone through some difficult situations, and I felt on my own skin how it feels like to be excluded from the group, how it feels like to not feel like I'm a part of the conversation. And so I make it a point to bring everyone together, make everyone feel comfortable, at ease, and to want to participate, because I know how good it'll feel for everybody involved when everyone contributes to the conversation. Okay. Also, when everyone's driving at the same energy and everyone's bringing their own contribution to the pie, okay, everyone feels like a winner. Everyone feels like they gave something and they took something in return. And that is something that I crave, and so I want to make sure that everyone feels that way. And now that does not mean that all people who've gone through hardships will all be great conversationalists. Most of them won't. It's just the ones who want to make a difference, who want to make people feel good, and those ones will make the extra effort. So you can't really group everyone together and expect all of these people to be in certain categories, okay? It'll differ from person to person, but the general idea is those who have this innate ability to make others feel good about themselves, make others feel seen, feel heard, feel like they are important, right? Is a trait of someone who is important and someone who finds that other people are important. Now, that is not to say that people who generally are harsh are very rough around the edges. It just means that they have more layers of protection, if you will. They've been through some hard stuff, and that hard stuff, for example, I feel like the people who've gone through difficulty in their adult life or hardship in their life in general, there's two camps, okay? So there's the ones who want to make people feel good, and there's the ones who don't really care how they make people feel, but for them it's important to make the people around them, the ones that are in their close group, feel like family. And I'm thinking of my coach, JT Fox, who, has layers to him, just like any normal person. And depending on where you fall in and how close you get to them, he will show you a different side to him. All right? Same thing goes for my other coaches, same thing goes for myself, right? It took me a while, but now it was funny. I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I'm no longer people pleasing. There's only so much BS I can take until I'm just my quota is fulfilled for the day. So, and there's not a lot of people I actually enjoy interacting with and being around, because a lot of them unknowingly show that just spew BS all the time, and I'm like, nah, this is too much. I can't. Even now, as I'm saying this, I feel like most of the people I hang around with that are around me and just think that I'm always going to be there, lately I'm just yeah, no. they're coming to like pluck my last string of patience is what I'm getting. So it all depends. Everyone is a working progress. Everyone is like a evolving mosaic. And I guess the key is, if you don't, like, this is also going for me, if you don't move fast enough on something, you might miss out. You are definitely going to miss out. And in regards to that missing out, I mean, it's neither bad nor good. It is what it is. It's some people just aren't right. They don't mesh well, and that's all right. That's fine. It's just learning and evolving and finding your actual group. And so the group of people that you want to hang around with and that you feel comfortable around, and that you feel like it's a reciprocal relationship and it's not just one-sided. It's actually both sides exchanging energies and giving to one another. So coming back to what I said prior, which is people who've gone through difficulty in their life generally are better conversationalists. As I said, not all of them, but some of them. The ones who want to make the people around them feel at ease, the people around them feel heard, people around them feel amazing. And I say this because in one of the 365s from JT Fox today that I listened to, the conversation was about Michael Douglas and how he was very, he had done a bit of research about the people who were there on stage, and he was able to say something about them. Like, he knew things about every single person, and that is what prompted this conversation, because being able to hold the conversation, being able to show to people that you are actually interested in them, gives them a sense of wonder. Not only wonder, but it makes them feel seen, heard, and that you actually want to get to know them better. One of my pet peeves, is about a person who doesn't ask questions. And I mean, this was something that my father instilled in me, which was, if you don't know the answer, ask a question. Don't imagine it. Just ask, so you can get the right answer from the source, right? And so when other people don't do it, it irks my chain, because I'm like, well, why are you imagining or using your intuition, imagination to fill in the blanks? Just ask. So it's one of my pet peeves, but sometimes I don't take my own advice. So this is one of the modalities I actually use to be like, okay, now I have to do it myself, because I put it out there, and I have to be a good example to show that I ask questions. And so I have started asking more questions, and I feel like the reason why people don't ask questions is because they might make others feel like they're in an interrogation, or that they're being nosy. So there is a way of doing it that's not too nosy or too much like an interrogation. It's there is a way to make them feel seen, heard, and understood, and also to make them want to continue the conversation, which is exactly what you should be doing, to make people feel like they are a part of the conversation. To make the conversation feel alive, to make the conversation feel like it's a two-way street. It's give and take. It's reciprocal. So if you just ask questions all the time and don't allow the other person to ask you questions in return, It might just feel like an interrogation, like I said. So it would be interesting. I mean, in actuality, the way you make others feel in an interaction is of utmost importance. What will what will make them want to come back, right? And it can't just be about money, fame, or what you can do for them. It has to be because I'm sure at some point you will feel the lack of it. You will feel like some people are taking advantage of you, which is something that I've noticed JT has a bit of difficulty with. Just saying. The reason why I say that is because I feel like the interaction is mainly transactional. So it's um, being mainly transactional. There is only money that's exchanged, money for a service, like business service, okay? And there's no loyal. Well, there is loyalty, but some people feel like that loyalty can be fleeting. And from my perspective, like, I feel there needs to be a connection made because it's if it's only business and the if the connection is only based on business and a monetary interaction, I feel like people won't necessarily feel tied to you. Now, this has a lot to do with the four gems that Dan Locke talks about in his closing strategy, which is you have the pearls, you have the sapphires, the emeralds, and you have the rubies, right? And so depending on what each of these groups put more importance on, you'll know what they'll generally gravitate towards. So pearls will be more like emotional and they'll gravitate towards that, as well as sapphires. Sapphires are more like exuberant, are more like theatrical than others, but they'll also be connected to their emotions slightly. While as emeralds are very analytical and they're like, okay, so it's black or white. And where the rubies are more uh, business savvy, they're more like the boss, the judge, the CEO. So if it makes sense, it makes sense. But like you have to be able to gauge with every single person because the the ratio of these the ratio of personality types differs from one person to another. So when you're talking, so when what JT has difficulty with is, I find, is the fact that the connection between people and them just seeing it as a monetary transaction is what is possibly stopping some people. And well, for sure, it's the sapphires and the pearls who tend to be more emotional, who tend to be more emotionally swayed, which is what I have noticed from like all the people that talk on his 365 in regards to like the ex CEO and the people who are backstabbing him and pulling the rug from under his feet and making him feel like, there's something missing or that they aren't loyal. So, but the thing is that I feel like JT, like, for example, he has no time to like finesse and he has people to do the finessing. But in any way, shape, or form, there is something that's lacking that the people who are quote unquote backstabbing JT need and that they aren't necessarily getting. And I can tell you, I've like interacted with JT for the past Like, I first met him in 2015, okay? And I have seen a massive transition between 2015 and now. There has been like leaps and bounds. The man has shifted. The man is different. Things in his life have shifted and changed, so he has now a wider spectrum of stuff. He can see different things that he wasn't able to see back in 2015. All right. So, in short, the person changed. But I feel like he might slightly be operating with old information, an old operating system. And I'm not saying that this is possibly not his area of expertise. He is like the business guy. That's all he concentrates on. That's all he does. So he's got other people to concentrate on the other stuff, right? What I want you guys to think about and to really seriously consider is where where am I lacking in the way that I interact with people? Where can I improve my abilities to talk to others, and how can I excuse me, how can I make my interactions with others even better? Is it me having to take on a whole new ability, or is it me taking on whole new, like, another set of employees that can do it for me? You know, if you got the money, why not? But as an individual, if you have the time, I totally suggest you do this, because it'll definitely improve your ability to talk to others and interact with others. And with that, you will definitely improve your social skills, which will definitely have an impact on your ROI at the end of the day. So, what I want you guys to ponder is, as I said, is there something you can improve so that you can have a better return on your investment of time and money? Ponder that.